Hello, everybody. Here's the rundown on the new character that I was playing. This one is had to do dwarf life, and I made it into a caster. You know, a little bit of sarcasm maybe, because dwarf they they can't start with the maximum stat that you want, charisma. On this build, I think they got us like maximum is a 16, but they could start at 20 Constitution, right? So that's what I did. This character's a dwarf, Warlock 12, Wizard 5, Sorcerer 3. It's a caster, just a DPS caster, and I had made this, you know, just because I had to do one more dwarf life to get it over off the racial reincarnation. First thing was is knowing that, you know, as a caster you're probably gonna get aggro as a DPS caster. You're not a holder. You know, you're not an insta killer on this build, so if you don't kill stuff right away, you're probably gonna get aggro. And it's always a good idea to have um, a good amount of hit points, I guess, associated with that, and uh, be better on your saves for fortitude. So more of the reasoning behind this build was I like to I guess cast a lot of spells in a hurry for cheap spell point costs, which any one of the six warlocks is able to do at this point, depending on their spell power or spell type, or whatever they're using to modify their Eldritch Blasts. So, opening up the enhancements tree, I went again straight into Tainted Scholar to the 4th tier. Um, and you know, I went over this stuff in earlier videos about the Tainted Lore to boost up that spell critical damage. And I think I found out from previous videos that both of these stack, so there's a 30% bonus on Tainted Lore for level 12 and Tainted Lore for level 3. Then the Archmage again is the main tree for the Arcane Blasts, plural, and the Arcane Supremacy effect that goes off. And, well, I guess this is just what it is here. 40 points spent in the Archmage Wiz tree. 28 are spent in the Tainted Scholar. And 12 in the Air Savant over here. The points that are spent in Dwarf are because of the past lives that I've been getting through on racial TRs. So you can only spend them over here. You got to dump them into something, you know. Otherwise, they're just going to waste over there. All lonely like. I think what Stout. This is for balance and saves against poison. And this cool dwarf thing over here, Iron Stomach. You know, you could take a drink of any potion and pretty much take care of most of the effects that are on you. dwarf toughness started it out. I got 10 hit points out of that. That was it. No. Ah, gosh, it's so different than playing a straight caster of any type. Straight, I mean taking it to level 20. Just a 20 sorcerer or a 20 warlock or a 20 wizard will get uh, the benefits of having higher level spells. You know, my spell tree is maxed out at level, level 4 for the warlock, um, and level 3 for the wizard, and level 1 for the sorcerer. We don't care about the sorcerer spells so much because they're just like the wizard spells mostly. The warlock 12 was taken specifically to get the the Everard's black tentacles and to get that extra 20% from tainted lore on spell critical multiplier. And then using that, it's also to just chain. Use the chain effect from Warlock. Because every time that bounces, it's another chance to proc effects from the shroud set that I'm wearing. It was like the only reason. And from Colors of the Queen. Another 7% chance to produce a random effect every time that bounces over to the 3 mobs. So cast freely, cheaply, and as much as possible to raise the chance of any of those weird effects happening. Okay? As a side note, I had pushed up the critical multiplier as high as I possibly could for this build. And it's at a base 125 crit multiplier. I've seen it go up to as high as 245 or 255 during the course of the thing. Now, the two primary damage types are electrical, which is a 60% chance, and force, which is at 68% chance standing. So that's all I was trying to do. The highest crit on this one that I did get was 56,000. It wasn't, it was from the breath attack in Draconic. But a lot of interesting things have happened along the way. And so I guess what I would say is that this build is it's sort of, it might not be for everybody, but there's a lot of times where I end up with a lot of spell points left, even though I wasn't casting the rest of those bigger spells. I was chaining the whole time, and I don't really have a problem with getting through to the next shrine. Like I could have cast more if my cooldowns were quicker. And it's especially because of this set that I'm wearing from Shroud. This is boosting my spell points total. I'm at like 5,500 spell points right now. And a lot of times I'll end up with like 3k left over with the Warlock chain. So that's not really a detriment. It's more like if you could get cooldowns quicker for the electrical damage. I'm in the Draconic tree. I'll show that. If there's a way to get cooldowns quicker for these big breath attacks and everything to dump more spell points, and rely on it more, you could, you know, effectively do quite a lot of damage with it over the course of a quest. Mm, it's been a mixed bag, you know. You run into um, mobs that are electrical immune, like especially the Killing Time raid that's out. They're only for force damage. Well, electrical doesn't touch it. I can't do anything to it really, except for the force side of things. So that's why I laid in the wizard stuff over here, is because I can always fall back and cast the arcane bolt and blast and the wizard force clickies to overcome that. Henceforth, I did set up the eclipse itself with force damage on it instead of electrical. This weapon comes from the Project Nemesis raid, and I've upgraded it to the 4th or 3rd tier. So spell powers are coming in for force a lot higher. 679, electric 663, and everything else, you know, doesn't really matter. The sonic does matter, because I'm still using a couple of spells that are sonic based. And the sorcerer for 3 levels in air is boosting both sonic and electrical spell power caster levels. So that's where I'm at. My sonic crit chance is 54. And just for fun, I'll hit all the clickies that I can down here to show that crit multiplier quick. That's only at 170. So with arcane supremacy, that does pop off. I'm at 270. You know, I didn't really try to get a bigger hit than what I had registered. That's extremely high for 20 seconds right there of life. Again, you could have done better with a class that is more in line with charisma if you were gonna do this. Showing the caster levels currently with all my current gear and everything in my combat log, relatively low for those magic missiles, only level 13. You know, won't let me cast the rest right now. No target. I'll target myself. Okay, Shocking Bolt is coming in at 18. And Lightning Bolt is coming in at 18. Those are double loaded. These are in my hotbar over here at number 8 and 7, respectively. And Electric Loop at 18. 1, 2, 3. I've also loaded them over here in case I want to manually hit them. Same thing. The 2 Sonic spells is Sonic Blast. It's coming in at 15. Soundburst is coming in at 20 for whatever reason. 85 Fortitude save on that sucker though. That's a good time. Web, the old standby, is coming in at 81. It's a conjuration focus. It's not evil. And I'm assuming that's what Evitar's is coming in at. Everard's Tentacles is coming in. I use them quite a bit. Web and this in conjunction, especially on High Reapers, where CC Caster's timer is short, so you might have to help yourself out. The Draconic, the 3 dragon attacks, which are electrical, are insanely high DCs for evil. It's coming in at 104. 104 for energy burst and 104 for the energy vortex. Like if you want to shock stuff, you have that ability. The cool knockdown flyby attack, again, coming in at 104 if you want to ram your way through a bunch of mobs, turn around and nuke them. That is an option too. That was very fun to play with that attack. And then what the heck else do we have to look at here? Epic Destinies, I'm all in an electric and draconic. Even though force is a slightly higher damage amount, in the inventory, I am not wearing the belt, the thrum cord super sparker for another X amount of electrical damage. I skipped it this life, and the damage numbers were lower for that, obviously, for that electric shock power. But that didn't mean that it wasn't playable. It's almost like the gear from Sharn and Barovia and everything combined. It's just very tough to mix and go all offensive because you're going to sacrifice something else. But I still had fun playing it. I don't know what the comparative damage amounts were because it happened so quick. Like, for instance, just laying down the tentacles, which is a force damage effect and a hold effect on mobs in Project Nemesis, was yielding anywhere from 3,000 to 7,000 if it crit for the duration of the spell. But it was, I think, it was having a very hard time registering. You know, all that information has to get sent back out to the DDO server and then come back. So a lot of times I had turned around and engaged another mob and didn't sit there and watch the numbers scroll. So a steady DPSer, sometimes if you get lucky, you can annihilate a bunch of mobs in one hit with the breath attacks. And overall casting, you can cast the whole time without even having to worry, really. So that's what I like. And yeah, I'm not gonna sit there and go through all the gear in what did get done and what didn't get done. I did not get a charisma item for insightful plus 10 or 9 fitted in this alignment, which would have boosted more spell points and a little bit higher DCs on web and stuff like that, on spells that mattered, and evocation. So I think that's the rundown. I've started to go get the TR, the racial TR stuff right now so that I can go try out something new again for the next life. And I just wanted to do this video, I guess, just so that everybody knows or can see what's going on. It's a little absurd, you know, like if I go throw this video out there, there's no way that new kid or new person starting DDO even has that gear available to look at to boost what's going on. Showing the 3 breath attacks coming in at level 43 in comparison. So if you've watched the rest of the videos up to this point that I've done on spell level and spell crit multipliers and all those things, I've begun to sort of lean towards highest possible caster level that you can get instead of all of these lower level spells blasting away all the time. Um, something to think about is more like a build that can cast level 9 spells base for your elemental damage types instead of, like I said, just ramming through a bunch of, like a pea shooter, hitting 4,000 times at one concentrated area. It'll take it 8 years to get through it instead of just one big shell hitting that area. So, so there you go. It's survivable. It was fun, and that's the end of the video. Have a nice Sunday night, everybody.